Guys, really exciting news today because the horsepower wars are still going very strong.
Yeah, that's right. So Ford today revealed the numbers on the new GT500, the Shelby. And we don't have all the numbers, but we certainly have horsepower and torque, and those are the two numbers that matter most in a muscle car.
Yes, and this is the 5.2 liter supercharged V8 engine that they kind of told us about many months ago. And but what was the power? Nobody knew. Everybody was guessing. Is it going to be 707? Is it going to be 710? Is it going to be 720? But what is the number?
Yeah, because they said over 700, and the official number is...
Boom!
760 horsepower and 625 pound-feet of torque on premium fuel.
Yes, 93 octane. And we'll go over in this video about every engine that's available right now in the Mustang and how it compares to the competition, because that's really important.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start off by describing the Mustang engine lineup, because there's quite a lot of them now. So the base engine for the Mustang is a 2.3 liter EcoBoost. That's the little four-cylinder, right?
Yeah.
So that one develops 310 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque.
Yes, and there's an upcoming version of this engine, which is basically a Focus RS engine, which Ford calls the High Performance Pack, HPP, and it's going to have more power, but it's not quite ready. It's not kind of unveiled yet.
Right, so that's coming.
So that's coming still. Of course, there's a good old Coyote.
Yep, so right? the 5-liter V8 in the GT Mustang 460, 420 pound-feet of torque, and there's actually two versions of that 5-liter.
Yeah.
If you get the Bullet, you get the same 5-liter that's been breathed on, so it's now 480, 420.
Yeah, and they just modified the exhaust system, the airflow, the intake system, and it sounds amazing. I mean, these engines, the 5 liters, are still great sounding.
A few years back, Ford revealed the GT350,
yes.
Which was kind of an interesting vehicle. It was very track-focused, and when they were discussing it, people thought it would come out and compete with the Hellcat on horsepower, but it didn't. It was like in its own separate breed.
Yeah, and it was a unique engine. It was a 5.2 liter, so it's not this Coyote.
Yep.
It's a whole different thing. It still has a flat plane crank, which allows it to rev, really high and really quickly. So it's a great kind of a track performance engine.
Yep.
And of course, they have several different versions of the 350. So there's a track-focused R, and there's a regular 350. I mean, still really, badass.
Yep.
And 526 horsepower, 429 pound-feet of torque. So not a lot of torque still,
right.
But it doesn't need it because the high revving, high horsepower.
So everyone kind of thought that, the brand new GT350, especially the R, it would be the horsepower king, but it wasn't. But now we've got a new big kid on block, and that's the GT500, which of course doesn't have 500 horsepower, but has 760 and then 625.
Yeah, those are big numbers. I mean, so let's talk about competition before we go to what's next, right? So let's just talk about it and a little bit more about this 5.2 liter supercharged engine. They're going to be hand-built. Right, and they're built in Romeo, Michigan, at the Ford facility. So that's good. You know how the German manufacturers, AMG and etc., they put their name, the person's name on it. So Ford is doing the same thing. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Hanzo. It'll be like Bill.
And yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So Bill is mating his engine to a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. It's a Tremec. There's going to be no manual option currently announced. Pricing is to be determined, and it will hopefully go on sale sometime in fall of 2019, according to Ford.
And by the way, if you guys are wondering, the last GT500 was a beast, right? The big Mustang had 662 horsepower, which was a big number in itself. But now almost 100 more horsepower, 760. But how does it compare against the competition?
Yes, because in this world, as much as you guys in the car community may complain about it, horsepower sells cars, and it still is the case today. So, of course, the big kid on the block has always been the Hellcat with 707. That's actually been up recently to 717. That, of course, is a pure-out muscle car.
Not so much a track king.
Yeah, so that's 717 with 656.
Yeah.
So that's out of a 6.2, so a liter bigger. And the horsepower per liter is 115.
Yeah, but really interesting. The torque on the Hellcat Challenger is actually still more than the upcoming GT500.
Yes, but it also
probably because of displacement
right.
and all that.
Right,
all
it
that
also
stuff.
weighs a bajillion pounds. So that, of course, is also supercharged. Then you've got the Camaro ZL1,
yes,
which comes in at 650, which is looking pretty pokey now among the current competition.
But great torque.
Yeah, 650 on torque too.
Yeah, also 6.2 liters. So Ford is going with smaller displacement, and obviously we haven't driven this engine yet,
right.
The GT500, but it will be really interesting, really scary to drive probably, because it's probably just way above my limit or whatever it may be.
So then of course you've got the Mustang GT500, which is 120 horsepower more than the Camaro, a little bit less torque though, but this is kind of the interesting number. Now, when you talk about, like displacement and then total horsepower, it's cool to measure horsepower per liter, because of course, these cargo ships have 1 billion horsepower, but they're also like 3 billion liters. So this is 146.2 horsepower per liter, which is higher than any of the cars on the list.
Yeah.
But that's, of course, kind of a hard number to sell to people.
Yeah, but it shows something because, well, Ford, first of all, markets this new GT500 as the highest horsepower Ford, street legal Ford ever.
Ever, yeah.
Right, which is true. And also the most power dense, which is where this number comes from. Right. The 146 horsepower per liter, it's a really good number. It matches some of the turbocharged engines from Germany as far as density on power.
Now, if you are looking at just straight out power, though, Challenger still has a beat with the red eye, which is kind of the hot Hellcat. So that's 797. It's largely kind of like a little bit detuned Demon.
Yeah.
So 797 and then 707 torque. So they're still, winning the horsepower race, but I don't think Ford is going to challenge.
I don't know if Ford is going to go there, but why didn't we put a Demon out in here?
Well, because they don't make the Demon.
Because they sold out?
Yeah, they sold out of the Demon, so you can't buy one.
The Demon has 840 horsepower.
It's old now, too.
It's kind of old, but yeah, so the horsepower war is still going on strong, but I wanted to kind of look into the future a little bit further. Can we do that?
Where you're going to look into the future?
Yeah, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to blow your mind.
Okay.
I have a pen. So, are you ready? Okay. So, Ford just unveiled the Explorer, the 2020 Ford Explorer with a hybrid system. There's also the Lincoln Aviator with a hybrid system. What do they call it?
Aviator. Like Perrier over here.
I can't pronounce things. What's next? Well, Ford just recently unveiled the 2020 Ford Explorer. There was a first drive review on TFL car, and it has a hybrid powertrain. There's also the Lincoln Aviator. Did I say that right?
Yep.
The Aviator with also a hybrid system. So if I was Ford, I may be looking into the future and looking at electrification, right? The Mach-1 series that they might have soon. So there's a couple of options. So you have... Just a 3-liter turbo V6 that could make, like in the Ford Explorer, it makes up to 400 horsepower. So, I mean,
Yeah, where do you go with all this?
I'm saying that there's still room to expand the Mustang range.
With electricity?
With hybrid, electric, or maybe straight up turbocharged power.
Okay, I'm going to give you an easier equation. Ready?
Okay.
So Ford has the new 7.3 liter V8, and then you don't do anything to it, and it'll make 761 horsepower.
What?
So that's my prediction for the new Mustang.
Oh, but this is a heavy-duty truck engine.
That's what I'm going with. Well, guys, let us know in the comments below what you think is going to happen with the future of the Mustang.
Okay.
And as always, thanks for watching.
Yeah, and of course, we look forward to driving this thing because it's going to be monstrous and sounds awesome too.
Oh.